500 days sober.
Oh, it went over that. Let's do it again. Probably not supposed to smell this.
We're celebrating 500 days sober. So we thought we would do a video where we talk about our journey of sobriety in a sort of sanctimonious way, where we just discuss it, talk about like how we got here and how anyone else who's sober curious could get this far. All the Gen Zers don't touch the stuff now.
No, my sister was saying she went out with her friends and in London, and all the younger people in the club, none of them drank. And she said they were all really nice, and I just thought, oh God, they're probably all being like, oh God, these old drunk people.
Yeah, I reckon they just look at millennials and they're like, oh, look at the state of them.
Yeah, how did they get there?
Yeah, God, it's not ending up like that. So yeah, I think that's probably what it is. But yeah, 500 days. We thought we'd do an update video, talk about it, and just really talk about some of the tips and the tricks of how anyone who's considering doing it could do it for themselves.
I also just want to say right at the beginning that I have drank this year, and it's very rare that I will have a drink, but I will let myself have a glass of wine when the situation is right, when I feel like I actually want one, rather than just feeling like I have to because somebody else is, or feeling like I want to because I want to escape a certain feeling, or I want to numb myself or not deal with something. It's almost like, for me, it's like a bit of a ceremony now, almost.
I'm still doing 1,000 days sober, but it's all in the semantics, okay? 1,000 days sober. I've only ever had one drink at a time, so I've had maybe one glass of wine, or I've had maybe one shandy. So it's not enough to get me drunk. So I'm still sober. So I've still been sober. So I haven't had a hangover. It's in 500 days. I've just had enough, just one drink. So enough that if I was breathalyzed, in the UK, I'd still be legally allowed to drive. So for me, it took a long time to get to the point where I could just have one and then just stop there. Now the problem is when you have a drink, many of you, this will resonate with many of you out there, is you have a drink and that loosens you up a bit. You think, oh, why am I being so uptight? I'm just gonna have another one. And that's the problem with it. You've got to be really careful about that, because that one drink can easily trigger or relax you into a way that you're just, okay, stop this, I'm just gonna keep drinking. I'm gonna finish the rest of the bottle.
Your brain is then like, I want to continue this feeling. Like, I want to feel like this for the next hour, so let me drink more. And then it becomes this thing that you just keep doing.
Yeah, so we're going to do a bit of a Q&A in this video where we've asked some of our community members, like, what questions do you have about this journey? And we've had quite a lot of people send in some questions, but one of the main questions we get asked is, what do you substitute it with? How do you substitute it? Which actually is pretty handy, because this week's video is sponsored by an incredible substitute.
Trip CBD.
Trip CBD.
I freaking love this stuff. So when they said they wanted to work with us, it was like the stars aligned, and it's just like a dream brand, I think, for people who are looking to switch or do dry January. This is such a good This is such a good thing to switch to for dry January.
What you really miss when you're drinking is you miss a certain kick. Like, some drinks have a certain kick to them, which a lot of non-alcoholic drinks can't seem to emulate very well. But this one seems to do it. I think it's because of the CBD in it. It has a slight kick to it that just gets you at the back of the kind of the throat area.
I've been drinking these, I think, since they came out. But they recently sent us these blood orange ones in my new favourite flavour. I thought the flavours couldn't get any better. Like, that's my other favourite that you've got.
This is the lemon and basil.
This is just up there.
Yeah, 15 milligrams of CBD in each one. They're really low calories as well. It's about 24 calories in a tin. No added sugar. And they taste so good.
They're amazing. For me as well, I think I've got your beard hair floating around in my glass.
Added benefits.
For me as well, I've been geeking out a little bit recently, just because of everything else that we're doing behind the scenes. I've been geeking out on nutrition stuff, and I know that in these drinks they have L-theanine and lemon balm, and those are two things that I've read about recently that I am so happy to see in a drink like this, because, I mean, I have some notes on my phone about them, but basically those two things are natural ingredients that will help your body to calm and de-stress. And I think lemon balm is the same plant family as the mint plant. but it's been used for centuries basically to help people de-stress. So it's really nice to see an ingredient like that in a mainstream product.
But it's also got like other stuff like ginseng, it's got chamomile in it, magnesium, that one's got in it. We drink it out of these fancy glasses because then it just feels a bit more ceremonial.
Oh, do you know what though? I don't in the day. If I have it in the day, like at lunch when I'm at my desk, I'll have it out of the can. But yeah, this is one thing we like to swap for, which actually has benefits, which is incredible. But you've got the CBD, and then you have like the fact that it's got the natural de-stressing ingredients in it. There's no added sugar either, which is amazing considering the taste.
Oh, this one's got 25 milligrams of CBD in it, so I think 50
that's
is a bit
good,
more.
isn't it?
So yeah,
maybe that's why I like this one. Maybe
I would highly recommend swapping out for something like this for trips. We actually have a discount code for you. I'll put it on the screen somewhere now, so you can go and grab yourself some.
And we'll put it in the description box as well. It's 30% off. It's quite a good discount.
Yeah, and they're really delicious. A great substitute for drinking. So
and also,
highly recommend them.
they're really nice if you're someone who is used to kind of hosting or having people over. They're a really nice alternative to have in your fridge that's a bit more exciting for friends of yours that might not be drinking for whatever reason. It's nice to be able to offer them something that isn't just like cordial, and it's kind of nice that it has benefits as well.
Yeah, great, and a British company as well. So yeah, cool man. Thanks Trip for sponsoring this video.
Thanks,
love your
Trip.
work, love your drinks. Yeah, go and buy some. Use our discount code. So we had a few questions come in from people. Other than what do you swap it out for?
Oh, can I also say other drinks that we swap it out for though?
Oh, of course, sure.
We are a bit like old people, aren't we? And we love peppermint tea, and it sounds really granny, but if you can like in the evening, if you want a hot drink, there's no caffeine in it. I think it's actually supposed to be a drink that kind of like wakes you up, but it doesn't really do that for us. So peppermint tea. And we've just got into like sleep teas, but they kind of taste gross, don't they?
It tastes like somebody just poured a load of herbs from your cupboard into a cup.
It's like
rank.
Imagine like licking a lavender plant. That's what it tastes like.
I've not found a good sleep tea.
No.
I only have them because I feel like I need to have.
It's a psychological thing, isn't
it?
Say you're somebody who looks forward to a glass of wine in the evening or whatever drink it is. If you can just take that and swap it for something else, it's not going to have the same effect straight away, but eventually you'll kind of start looking forward to whatever you've swapped it for. So that and a really good hot chocolate and Trip, those are our like alternatives, and they kind of fit in different situations.
Yeah.
So
one other question that we had, which was quite a good question, was why don't you just cut back alcohol? Why do you have to quit? And I think it depends on what kind of character that you are. Some of us, like me, not so much Hannah, are all or nothing people.
I would say though, for me, I wouldn't describe myself as an all or nothing person, but with this, I knew that if I didn't cut out alcohol completely for a long period of time, that I wasn't going to be able to change my relationship with it. I just knew that I would always have that little niggly thing that was like, oh, you can always da-da-da. So I had to do like 11 months without touching a drop just to get myself in that place of like, every now and then I'll have one and I feel really comfortable with that, you know?
There is that switch. It probably came 11 months for you. I think it came a bit later for me, but there's a switch that will happen when you can take it or leave it. And when you're like 6 months in sometimes, or even a year in, you think, when's that going to happen? Why am I still obsessed with drinking? It will come. You've just got to be patient. You've got to be strong.
You can't get better at something without failing a lot. And so I think the same sort of applies to this, is that if you do fail, just don't beat yourself up about it, because there's no point. There's no point doing that. You've done it, you've for whatever reason, you've gone and had a drink or whatever, but you can literally just start again and just give yourself a bit of compassion with it if you do that.
Because even if you've done, say if you've done a month, that's still bloody
amazing.
good. It's still amazing to do a month. You should be proud of yourself.
I remember doing like 4 days and being like, oh my God, I haven't had a drink for 4 days. And do you know what I mean? Everyone has a different threshold that they want to get to.
I think for us as well, one of the major factors for us, not only was the 3 a.m. anxiety killing me and the depression that I'd suffer, but I just want to say this, we're all different. We're all wired up differently.
Different chemistry in everybody as well. It's a good thing
since
to
I
remember.
quit booze, right, this is a big statement, it's definitely true, I promise you, I've not had depression. Since I've quit booze, I've lived my life with depression my whole life. I've not had it since I've quit booze, and that was 500 days ago. That is how, it's never been this long, and I can only equate it to that. Because
it's the one thing that you've changed.
Yeah. Alcohol is a poison. You are essentially poisoning yourself. It's a very low dose of poison, but you're poisoning your body. So your body and your liver to constantly kind of cleanse and get back to square one. It's a big process, and the older you get, the harder that is to get back to where you started. So there comes a point when you just have to kind of confront it and say no more. But I also feel that we have been in the last couple of years, last few years, for a lot of us, especially if you're a small business owner, has been horrific. So to face what's going on in the world right now, not running at optimal I don't think is a very good way to confront it. I think you need to be running at optimal in order to interface with what's going on around you in a wider scope of things.
It's really hard though, because a lot of things that people have to deal with globally, but look, also on a day-to-day scale, people want to numb feelings because feelings are hard. They're really hard, and sometimes they're horrible, and I've had times where I'm like, I just don't want to be in my head. I want to get away from myself. And in the past, I would drink to do that. I would drink so I didn't think about everything that was going on in my head, you know?
That's the thing, it's a temporary escape.
And it's really hard to kind of remove yourself from that.
The difficult thing with that mindset though is, you remove yourself from those feelings temporarily, but you're not, it's not like you're dissolving them. It's not like they're gone. They're just going to be waiting for you, but probably like with a lot more potency a few days down the line. And this is the thing. Sometimes we wake up and we feel hungover, and we think that's it. The hangover. Once I'm not hungover anymore, then I'm back to normal. You're still not back to normal for a long time.
It's actually 3 days later, isn't it?
Yeah.
That your body. I can't remember exactly what it is. We'll have to link to that. Is it Huberman podcast from ages ago, where your anxiety actually peaks 3 days after, and that's when your body starts craving more alcohol.
But I think a lot of us tend to think, because I don't feel the physical manifestations of the hangover, therefore I'm fine now. But it's not that. It could be irritability, heightened levels of anxiety, depression. It could be all of these things which are linked to a few days ago at the weekend when you went a bit crazy and had a drink, and it's all linked to that. You get rid of that, these things don't happen anymore. Anyway, we've got another couple of questions I want to go through here, because some of the really good questions come through from people. The Mark Gilroy, Mark's a lovely guy, he has a YouTube channel, I'll link it below. He asks, what do you wish you could tell your past non-sober self about having come through 500 days? I guess just simply like, you can do it, mate. Like, because I wouldn't have thought I could have done this. I wouldn't have thought it'd be possible.
Or that you would become such an advocate for it, because that was such a big part. Not saying you specifically, I think we were both the same, but you couldn't really imagine 5-10 years ago going sober. You'd be like, why would I do that? You'd be almost be a bit judgmental about it. Whereas now, like, I feel bad for being in situations where I remember being younger and someone would be like, I'm not drinking tonight, and I'd be like, oh, that person's going to be boring, or they're weird, like, why wouldn't you drink? Judging, really judging. And now I'm like, God, why would I do that?
Do people question why you're not drinking, and what's your response? I dread that "are you pregnant" conversation that happens when you say you're not drinking.
Yeah, that used to annoy me.
This is my male privilege kicking in now. I don't have that.
That used to really annoy me, because I think, especially when you're a woman of a certain age, everybody just assumes that that's what it is. They don't think, you're doing it because you just want a better life for yourself. Or if they do think that, they kind of would. It depends who your friends are, really, to be honest. We never really had bad reactions from people we would call friends. They would, if anything, were more supportive, and then ended up doing it themselves as well. Now, actually, a vast majority of our friends have ended up also being sober or drinking, like, significantly less. So you end up kind of like attracting people who have a similar outlook on it. Anyway, I would say. But I guess if you're someone who your friendship group revolves around, like, drinking and going out together, that would be much harder.
But so how would you address it with, people thinking it's you wanting to be pregnant or being pregnant? Would you just confront it straight up and say, it's not because I'm pregnant?
It's a hard conversation to have, because you're kind of having to say that you think you have a problem, even if it's a low level problem. You're kind of saying, I'm struggling with it and I don't want to. Then
that's basically admitting that you've got a problem.
And then you end up feeling like, oh shit, they're judging me, or they think a certain thing about me. But you've got to just let that go and be like, just stay true to yourself and just say, I'm not doing it. I don't mind if you do it. Like, it's cool. Like, I can still drink with you. I'm just not going to drink the same thing as you.
I've got so much respect for people who can confront the human experience by not drinking and not numbing themselves through it, because a lot of it is that, like when you're social situations, why do you drink in social situations? Because it's a social lubricant, it relaxes you around being around other people, which is quite which does inspire quite a lot of anxiety. Just being around different people and characters and all the different frequencies that are going on that you need to sort of tune into can be quite overbearing for neurologically.
I think a lot of us, especially post 2020, have really bad social anxiety in those situations.
I mean, we're working from home more now, we're not going out and socialising so much, people aren't going to the office and socialising, so there's parts of our brain that aren't being worked out, essentially. They're not being, utilised, so they just get a bit lazy, and then when you do go around, when you are around other people, it's a bit more difficult than it used to be, because it's not something that we're so used to anymore. So I personally feel that it's commendable for somebody to be able to confront these situations and not succumb to numbing them, and just be like, I'm going to confront this situation, even though it's difficult and hard. I'm going to confront it, and I'm not going to allow myself to be weak-willed and end up just numbing myself through it. So share your thoughts on how being sober has improved your health, mental well-being, relationships and spirituality.
Oh my God, it's literally elevated all of those things. I can't say one of those things that hasn't improved since not drinking, or not drinking on a regular basis. Whatever. What would you even call me now? Because I'm not completely sober, but I just rarely drink.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there a name for that?
I don't think there's a name.
I don't know. But I mentally feel so much better. I have better conversations with people. For me, I think a lot of it stemmed back to when I was doing my yoga teacher training as well, because you kind of get taught how to become aware and quiet and kind of go inwards. And when you drink, it has the opposite effect on that. It kind of numbs it all and you don't really think about it. I used to get this line, didn't I? If I had too many drinks, I'd get this like line down my face that went right down my face like that. And it was obviously dehydration, I didn't know. And then as soon as I stopped drinking, my whole face just went plumped up.
Yeah.
Nice and plump.
Yeah, it's all that Botox.
Yeah.
Our relationship is a big one, because I mean, we bicker, don't we? We have the odd tiff, but
I mean, we work,
nothing
live and raise children together, so
nothing compared to what they were like.
No, things would escalate if we'd had one too many glasses of wine.
Yeah, it would get
Something
bad.
tiny could escalate into like a shouting match.
Yeah, it'd be horrible. And then you'd end up feeling horrible for the next 2 weeks, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The residual effect.
Yeah.
It really damaged us, didn't it, drinking that much?
Yeah, I think, but I think now that we don't drink, our relationships just, I mean, better than ever, and we're like 13 years in.
I think I'm going to be sick.
Yeah. Do you miss anything? Taste, feeling, feeling, and events? Yeah, the taste of whiskey, man. Oh God, I miss whiskey so bad. But I miss it as if it's like, almost like a holiday that I had once. I loved that holiday, and what a lovely experience that was. That holiday, and I wouldn't want to live in that place. It was great to visit, but I just can look back and romanticize about it, think about it, and think how much I loved the taste of that whiskey and how much I just, enjoyed it. I have wonderful memories of that extremely delicious drink. But that's what they are. It's just like fond memories. So yeah, you just have a fondness for it. It's.
I don't know if I really miss it. I mean, when we went camper vanning, I had a couple glasses of wine in the sun over the month, but I don't really miss it. Like, I could happily just not have those, which is a place I never thought I would get to, which is a reason why I'm happy to treat myself every now and then, because I am unbothered by it now. I don't feel like it's something I crave or need, whereas before I would really feel like I needed it.
Yeah.
And I think there was something in me that I had to address in order to not need it.
I remember one time when I was drinking heavily, and it was my birthday, and I went out and I took a camera out, and this is before we were making YouTube videos, and I just filmed the evening, and I remember waking up the next day thinking, God, what a great night that was. I remember just being really like charismatic and chatting to loads of people, and I thought I was being really like funny and interesting. And I was like, I'm gonna watch the footage back because that was such a great night. I have never cringed.
Oh no.
I've never cringed as hard. I've never been so embarrassed in my life about anything than I was when I saw the video, and how obnoxious and awful I was. And it was the first time that I really realised, oh my God, I didn't realise how awful people are when they're drunk, especially me.
Tell them the story about our wedding.
Okay.
For those of you who might not know our history, we got married in Las Vegas. We eloped. And 4 days before we eloped, I found out I was pregnant, so I didn't drink when we were on our Las Vegas holiday. I was quite upset about that at the time. But this guy,
I had to drink for 2.
yeah.
I got really drunk, and then it just kind of, I don't know, it got really.
You were just being obnoxious.
I was being a knob, wasn't I? I was being
were
a
being
knob.
I had to drag you out of the swing. He was drinking Prosecco in the swimming pool out of a bottle like that, and I pulled you out, and I was like, I am not marrying you unless you stop drinking right now.
And then I started crying and stuff.
Yeah, it's the 2 times I think, no, 3 times in our 10-year marriage. No, sorry, longer than that. 12. How many years we've been married?
12-ish.
Love, I'm so glad that you're crap with dates, Jim.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a very long time, and I've only ever seen Stef cry 3 times. And that was one of the times.
What were the other times? Headache? I had a
headache, and then when your dad passed away.
Oh yeah. My headache was, well, I was drinking that night as well, wasn't I?
Yeah.
That was a headache from
That was the end
dehydration.
of we actually came to Bath. We lived in London. It was before we had the kids. We came to Bath for like a romantic weekend, and we did a pub crawl when we got here.
2 out of 3
and
times.
And then you went home. We went back to the hotel and cried.
So the 2 times you've seen, well, 2 of the times out of 3 has been from alcohol. That was a horrible headache. I thought I had a brain tumour. That was bad. What was that from? We drank too much of something, didn't we? White wine or something.
I think we were just on a little cocktail of everything that night.
Oh God, that was horrible.
I have the deepest, most tranquil, undisturbed night's sleep now that I don't drink. It's amazing. And I just wake up feeling... I hate the word, but I wake up feeling optimal. Like, I wake up feeling like, my body did everything it needed to do. I don't ever wake up feeling thirsty in the night or like having patchy sleep. I'm out. And you know I need my like at least 7 or 8 hours. It's done amazing things for my sleep.
You're not just saying I'm not drinking alcohol, you're addressing the fundamental reasons why you drink alcohol in the first place. And they can be quite difficult to address. The alcohol is just like the medicine, and the whatever this behind that is a symptom. And I think when you quit alcohol, you've got to go into the symptoms. Like, what's causing me to need this thing?
When you're not numb anymore, you're like, I've got to deal with all this other stuff.
Okay, so I have propensities to be anxious around people. I need to confront that. I have...
But then you start peeling back the layers and you're like, oh God, there's so many layers.
Pain that I want to be numb from. I need to confront that pain, because you're never could be able to confront that pain. And never be able to confront that anxiety by just numbing it with booze. There's some work that needs to be done. And luckily, when you're not drinking, you're clear-headed enough to go in there, into the battleground, and do some fighting. It's all about getting back up.
And also, I would say what really worked for me, like back in the early days of completely quitting for 11 months, is just doing day by day and not thinking about the next week, not thinking about however many months I knew I wanted to do it for, just thinking day by day, like, I got to the end of the day, and maybe today I didn't even think about it, or you know.
I think we've talked enough about that and our 500 days sober. Let's do another popper.
That was rubbish.
Yeah, that was so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But please let us know in the comments if you are sober curious, or if you're doing this, or if you want to try.
Or what your experience has been, or if you have any other like tips that you want to share with other people in the comments as well.
We'll do
and also
another...
remember, your discount for Trip is in the description as well. It's 30% off.
Yeah, cheers to Trip for sponsoring this week's video. You guys are the best. Love your work. There is there's everything. All the links are in the doobly-doo. What else we got to say? That's it, really.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll do a 1,000-day update. So we'll do a 1,000-day update probably in the next year and a half.
Oh my God.
Should we do a 750-day update? Yeah,
I was going to say that's a really long time.
We'll do a 750-day update. Anyway, cool. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching, and thank you for your questions as well.
Yeah, cheers, everyone. Take care.
See you soon.
Enjoy the journey. Oh, did I say that? Oh, God.
You did.
I did. Oh, God. Awful.